That's the one that pops, you know, we saw it on the air Blackpool. Yeah. Some odd clubs.
So this aircraft, known as Miss Pickup, for obvious reasons, one of its many missions that the Catalina did was picking up downed pilots. Based out of Duxford, and it's a conglomerate of people that have come together to save this aircraft. Keep an eye on the wingtips. At the moment you can see they're nice and clean, but a little bit later on he's going to drop down the floats on either end of the massive wing on this aircraft. Catalina is arguably the most famous and successful flying boat ever built. There's more of these built than any other aircraft of its type. Over 3,280 aircraft in North America. And also there was some built in Russia, believe it or not. It was produced in both flying boat and amphibious versions. So it would have little wheels that would pop out from underneath, and it could taxi up a ramp. They were used in a variety of all theatres of operations in World War II and by the Allied Air Forces and the US Navy. Anti-submarine warfare, coastal patrol, convoy escorts, and as the name suggests with this aircraft, air-sea rescue. Known as the Catalina, or the PBY as it was known to the US Navy, it was closely involved in many historical actions in the Second World War, Pearl Harbor, the interception of the Bismarck, where it was finally sunk, and the sinking of numerous U-boats. You can see those floats have popped down now. Those used to stabilize the aircraft when it's landing on the sea, which it did very often. Unfortunately, this aircraft does not land on the sea anymore. It's fully capable of
PBY 5A Catalina.
If you subjected that airframe to salt water, it would just hesitate. It would speed up its demise, and it takes a lot of cleaning to get all that salt water off after it's landed. So it will land on a lake, fresh water, but we don't see the Catalina, this one particularly, land on the water anymore. And there's one of its characteristic moves, slow. It sounds a bit strange, but for an aircraft to go slow is actually a very, very useful tool, especially when you're hunting submarines. Because when you want to come in and drop down some depth charges, you want to be accurate. So you don't be zooming in at high speed. So slow speed would help, and also the detection and the search for downed aircraft as well. The crews of these aircraft were incredibly brave, flying many, many hours out over the Atlantic, up over the Antarctic as well. Even after the war, the Catalina was still very, very useful. Numerous military and commercial operators around the world took them on. They were used as forest fighter bombers, survey aircraft, air displays as well. They were doing them even back then. Today, there's only about 14 or 15 airworthy examples around the world. And Miss Pickup is definitely the most active. And she's the only Catalina flying regularly in Europe. In 2023, it was the aircraft's 80th birthday. She was built by the Canadian Vickers Company in Quebec for the Royal Canadian Air Force back in 1943. During World War II, the aircraft hunted enemy submarines, patrolling day and night along the coast of Western Canada. Post-war, it was used for Arctic survey work and also briefly as a freighter before joining search and rescue flights where it served until finally being sold in 1961. So it is a true warbird. She was transferred onto Canadian registration and then was converted to begin a long career as a water bomber. She fought a lot of fires over Canada, did some seasonal work in the south of France and Chile as well. And in the 90s, the aircraft was purchased for an African safari project. So the idea was they were going to put really big blisters on the side of the aircraft, and you would fly along looking at the giraffes and the lions. Surprisingly, that company did not finish the conversion because it was a silly idea, and thankfully the aircraft was brought back. So coming for the last time from the right hand side, PBY 5A Catalina, missed pickup. So that's Catalina signing off, heading out. Really great to see that aircraft still flying. And if you want to join the Catalina Society and get involved with it, it's catalina.org.uk.
Really
There's details
great.
about shared ownership even on the website. Catalina. So Kirsten and Emma are on top of the wing of the aircraft as it's flying along. They'll come in, they'll do some maneuvers, and then this is the bit that I was a little bit dodgy about. They're going to climb down while the aircraft are flying right in front of us and get back in. So the first part of the end of the show, they'll actually sit on the front of the wing, and then they'll climb down into the cockpit, unstrapping themselves from the harness. But before that, we're going to be treated to a full set of maneuvers with the steerman, Dave and Brian at the controls, and it is really a very good show. So the girls are strapped in on top of the wing, and they have like a pole sitting behind them that they can rest on. And that whole pole actually rotates, so you'll see the backing of it. So they're not just standing upright. At one point, they'll be doing handstands. At another point, they'll be side on. They'll be like 90 degrees. And throughout the show, I'm going to listen in for Dave Barrell, who's leading the show. So, ladies and gentlemen, coming from your left, high up, it's Aero Superbatics wing walking team. So as you can see, the girls are actually upside down on the top of the wing, and you'll see them rotate very quickly as they start to get the right way up. These Boeing steermen have been heavily modified. Instead of the standard 220 horsepower engine, they have a 456, let's call it 460 horsepower engine. And watch on top as the girls come back in from the right. And as you can see, they are upside down. That is their leg waving in the air as they're grabbing onto the wire. Now keep an eye on the girls as they head out. Beautifully silhouetted. See they're upside down? Watch this. There you go. They just flipped around. They just moved all the way back to being the right side up. So that harness actually can rotate in any direction. 1940 Boeing Stearman, as I said, striking red, white, and blue liveries. And again, like the Harvard, you'll hear that sort of rasping noise, and that's as the propeller is approaching the speed of sound. So let's listen in as Dave calls out the next sequence. Get ready for the V break. Good photo opportunity. And as Kirsty and Emma right themselves around, flying the aircraft, as I said, Dave Farrell, he's the lead pilot, over 5,500 hours, over 1,400 displays. And Brian Corns, he's number 2, 13,000 hours under his belt and over 500 displays. Then on top of the wing, the first aircraft is Kirsten Hopjoy. And then behind her is Emma Broadbent. Girls, as you can imagine, are super fit. They are in the gym all the time. They're fully trained for this very, very high G maneuver. Watch as the aircraft pitches down. And as you can see, Kirsten and Emma both raising their leg as they're being subjected to 4G. So it won't be surprising to know that they're both acrobats. They worked in circus and dance and very gymnastic. Very big gymnastic display. To give you an idea what it would feel like, you can imagine heading home tonight and you're going at about 100 miles an hour. Stick your head out the window of the car. And that's just your head. Imagine your whole body being exposed to 100 miles an hour. So both coming back on the B axis. The ladies are now on the side. And crossing over. Again, staying on the side until they flip themselves around the right way. Emma is in her 4th year of wing walking and is equally at home doing solo or the display routine as we're seeing today. She has performed over 100 displays across 4 countries. Now, here come Dave and Brian approaching each other on the left and the right, punching forward and crossing over. I don't know if you saw it, but I think it was about 2-3 weeks ago now. There was a program on BBC One, and it was about 7 o'clock after the news, and it was a whole half hour behind the team. They were following Kirsten around as well, and it was really, really good. So if you get a chance, have a look at that Wing Walkers. It's still on. I'm pretty sure it's still on iPlayer. I think it's called the Ultimate Wing Walkers. It's on BBC One iPlayer. So if you want to see what it's like with the team behind the scenes, have a look at that. So now, as you can see, both aircraft have climbed to height. That means one thing: they're going to start doing maneuvers. So the ladies themselves, obviously on top of the wing, create a big drag on the aircraft. It's called parasitic drag, and that will slow down the aircraft. So even though they've got the uprated engines, they still need height to trade for speed. So get ready as they come rolling in. Now they're going to build up their speed, and the aircraft are going to roll with the aircraft, with the ladies on top. Watch, pitching up and rolling upside down. Whoa. No way would I do that job. So Dave Barrel climbing out, turning to his left. We're approaching, we've gone past the midway point in the show, so they're going to come running back in from the right-hand side. Now, if you have binoculars, today is your day, because keep the binoculars on the girls on the top of the wing. For all those men out there that bought binoculars and their wives gave them grief about it. Kevin, why do you need binoculars? You're an electrician. Now who's laughing? Keep an eye on the girls, because you're going to see them unstrap themselves from the top of the aircraft and then move forward and sit on the top of the wing. So as we're talking now, they've unclipped themselves from the top harness and they've moved forward, and instead of standing or on their hands or sideways on that pole, once they come back around, have a good look through your binoculars that you knew you'd need one day, or maybe a big long lens on your phone, and have a look, see where the girls are now. They're sitting on the top of the wing. I would love to have been in the interview when those girls come in and they said, so what's the job? Right, so the job is we strap you to the top of the wing of an aircraft. Oh, okay, well, all right, I might be able to do that. Oh, but then you have to unstrap yourself and get off the wing and sit on the front of the wing. But there you go, they did it. Now, not happy with sitting on the front of the wing, obviously. You can't go back to Renkum on the top of the steerman. They're now going to transition towards the rear of the aircraft, and they're going to stand on top of the cockpit. They're not getting into the cockpit yet. So watch as they come back around for the penultimate pass. So watch as their final pass comes up. They're going to still head out towards sea and then turn gently to our right-hand side. And then the girls will finally come around. And as I said, both of them are trained dancers. And I can never say the word. It's aberesque or ababisque or something. It's some sort of ballet maneuver where you basically grab your ankle at the back and you pull your leg up towards your back. If you know how to say that, send it to me on Instagram at Joe Airshow. But look now for the final time, coming from the right-hand side, the aerobatics wing walking team. Kirsten Popjoy in the lead, Emma Broadbent behind her, and at the controls, Dave Barrel leading the team out. Amazing display. Thank you very much, and of course Brian Horns as well, bringing up the rear in the red. So a big thank you to Air Superbatics and the wing walking team. Hope to see you again very, very shortly. Strike Masters are coming up next. Two of one of the most successful export aircraft that the BAE Systems ever built. Strange enough, never served with the Royal Air Force, but these aircraft very, very capable. Huge success overseas.